Hey, what's up? Tony here with MotionTony.com. I'm going to show you my process for animating pretty abstract text, creating pretty cool abstract text animations using just lines and strokes. So it's what you're seeing here on the screen. I'm going to walk you through my process. There's a project file for this. You can download that and basically dissect it. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into this process video. So as you can see, the logo, I broke it apart for you already, so you don't really have to do too much. It's already in layers, and that's really anytime you animate a logo, you need to make sure that you have it separated into layers. Otherwise, everything's on the same plane, and if everything's on the same plane, you can't move the separate aspects of the logo that make it, what it is. So what I'll do is we're gonna start with the let's start with the N here. So we're gonna animate this N in a pretty cool fancy way. This section here, we have this section here in the middle, and then we have this little part on the right side. So the technique here that we're doing, I'm going to show you right now. So you're going to right click on this N layer, and then you're going to hover your mouse over create, and then you're going to click create shapes from vector layer. Now we have you'll see a new layer was created. It's called N outlines, and then you'll see that the N layer was actually turned off here. So what I'll do here is actually lock the layer right here. That way we don't move it. It's good to have like a guide just in case. Basically, we're going to be moving this in around here, right? And we want to make sure that the final position is actually the final position. So locking this layer here, the N layer, will make sure we don't move it. And also turning it off will make sure that we don't see it. It's really there just as a reference point or guide. So now we have the N here. As you can see, there's two different shapes to it. So what I'll do is actually duplicate this N, something like that. Yeah, I'll duplicate the N. I think I'm just going to do it into two parts. So we'll call this N1 and then N2. So N1 is this section, and then N2 is this entire section. What we're going to do is click this pen tool, turn off N2, and then actually just delete the second part right here. Just like that. So now we have N1 on its own layer. And what you can do is click Y on your keyboard and then just move that anchor point to the middle. Alright, and then for N2, we'll turn off N1. And we're going to do the same thing. Click G on your keyboard, or just click the pen tool up here. And then we're going to delete the first part of it. So now we should have, so we have N1 right here, and then we have N2 right there. So what I'll do is turn off N2. That way we're just looking at N1. All right. And then what I will do is actually duplicate N1 and call this N1 fill, and then turn that off. We'll use it later. Alright, so for N1, what we're going to do is add a stroke to this right here. So we're going to click on the shape layer, go to add right here, and then we'll do stroke. Alright, and then once the stroke is added, you may be able to see it. Well, I'm going to make the stroke white, but if I make it red, you can sort of see it right there. So yeah, in this case, we're going to make it white. And then the fill, we're going to do no fill. So this is what we get. Alright. As you can see, it's just a simple outline now. Now what I'm going to do here is make sure this shape layer is selected in one. And then we're going to add what's known as trim paths, which basically allows you to animate the stroke around this object here. So inside your shape layer, you'll click this little arrow for trim paths, and then you'll see start, end, offset. What I'm going to do, or what you can do, is for this, you're going to click the stopwatch for end, take it to 0, and then go forward maybe a second, or yeah, probably a second, and then you're going to make it 100. So what you did there was create a keyframe saying, hey, at 0 seconds I don't want trim paths on, but at 1 second I want the trim paths to fill in the entire shape, I guess. And yeah, what you can do is keyframe assistant is select all your keyframes, right click, click keyframe assistant, easy ease, and go into the graph editor here, highlight all the keyframes, make sure that you're on the speed graph. You may be on the value, but we're going to do speed graph, and then you're going to select all the points and do something like this. There we go. And then as you can see, that's what that looks like. Now what you can do is click the start keyframe right here, and actually, so start it at 0 and then move it to 100 at the end. This is what it looks like. So it sort of like loops around. And then we'll do the same thing. So we'll right click, easy ease, go into the graph editor, and then just sort of ease that out. So this is what we get. Perfect. So it sort of goes up and around, and yeah, so that's that. You can add cool things to this, really. You can, if you go to path, or not path, let's see. So make sure the shape layer is selected. You can animate the stroke. So let's say I want the stroke to start off pretty large. Well, and set a keyframe for it to like 86. Okay, that's huge. Set a keyframe for it to, let's say 19, right? And then we'll bring it back down. So it's going to end at a smaller stroke width. So this is what that looks like. That's actually pretty cool. I actually like that. So we'll easy ease that, and then yeah, actually that should be fine. So this is what it looks like. All right. So this is the actual element that brings the N into place. So once it's off the screen, we don't really need that anymore. So right here, we can actually hit Alt and the right bracket to just end that. So we don't. Basically, it just helps you keep track of what's in your timeline here. So we have this. Now we have to animate basically the N1, the actual fill right here coming in. So what I'll do is animate the path. So let me turn this on here, see where I want it to go. So right about here, it should be onto the screen, or like start making its way up. So what I'll do is set a keyframe for when I want it to end, which is right here. So at this point in time, the shape should be full and complete like that. And then I'll go back, and again we're setting the keyframe for the path here. And then yeah, we'll go back, set another keyframe, and what I'll do is actually just highlight these two points here for the shape and drag them down just like this. Oops. And basically, yeah, we're just dragging where we want it to start, and then if we go forward, this is where it ends. It's like that. Alright, so now, same thing, hit F9 on your keyboard or right click and then keyframe assistant, easy ease. And then we'll go into the graph editor. For this one, I want it to start pretty fast and like ease its way out. So something like that. Yep, that works. Maybe a little faster. Alright, so now what I will do here is basically just time the animations. That's not that. So we have N1 right here. So let's go on there. It may actually be a bit too slow. So something like that. Perfect. And then also, I want to actually, for N1, I kind of want the line to be disconnected from this. So I'll just move the scale up on it like that. That way it sort of has some spacing in between it. So yeah, something like this gets the job done. And then another thing that I do is add like flash to it. So it sort of like flashes on, so it's like a lighting effect. So what I do to do that is I start with the opacity. So for the fill right here, you can click T for opacity, click the stopwatch, start it at 100, go forward a few frames, bring it to 20, go forward a few frames, 68, forward again, 35, and then 100. So now, if we just look at this, you see it sort of flashes on, almost like it's, digital. So yeah, that's that. So it's coming in. So yeah, that's actually kind of cooler than my other one. Now you can do a lot of other things with this. You can duplicate the stroke here, right? And then offset it a bit, and actually totally what you can do is for this new stroke is animate the offset, something like that, or just like offset the stroke path. That's what you're doing, and then scale this one like that, and then you'll see it creates a whole different look entirely. Maybe we can start this one off like to 4 or something. So yeah, offsetting it basically creates a whole new look entirely. So it's pretty cool. You can it's really sky's the limit with these types of effects. So yeah, we have the N, and this is just the first part of the N. That's what's crazy. We have everything else to go to. So here's what it looks like here, the second N. I actually want it to be a bit larger. So I think I'll expand the start length there. Yeah. So that's what it looks like now. And then let me show you how I go about animating this portion. So for this end, I'm going to actually animate it slightly differently. And it's by using a sort of the same thing actually. So let me show you. So into fill, Let me actually turn off these here so I can show you better. So this is the line that goes around the end, and then this is the fill. So the actual, final shape layer. So we're going to animate this coming in, and the way we do that is by creating a new shape layer. So go to Layer, New Shape Layer, and then we're going to rename it and call this Matte. And then go ahead and just turn it red. That way you know like this is something important. And then for the matte shape layer, make sure that's selected. Make sure the fill, there's no fill on this one. And then for the stroke, make it red just so you can see. And then we're going to go ahead and just start clicking. We're going to go ahead and click over this in here. And then we're going to adjust the stroke width to fill essentially that. We want to make sure the stroke width is the same as the end here. So it's just like this. So we're creating a point that starts from here and ends here. And then we're going to create another point. So hit G. Make sure it's just on the same shape layer. And then we're going to cover this one up just like this. Now you may be asking, this is weird, it looks clunky, and yeah, it does. But I'm going to show you what ends up happening here. So we essentially, this is the matte and this is the fill. So the matte, what we're going to do is I'm going to animate the matte first so you can see the motion. So for shape 1, this is shape 1. The end is going to go this way. So what we're going to do is click shape 1 and then click add trim paths, and it's sort of the same thing. We are basically animating a stroke. So to do that, for the trim paths, we're going to click go forward a few frames here on your timeline, and then go back and then set that to 0. So from 0 to 100, you'll see it animates like that. And then what I'll do here is highlight these keyframes again, easy ease, go to the graph editor, and then let's see, sort of the same motion. Want it to start fast and sort of like ease. Yep, that works. And then we're going to copy this trim paths here, and then we're going to paste it to the second portion. So it comes in right there, and probably it should start coming up right about there. So this is what it looks like. Bang, bang. And then this is where the magic actually happens. So for N2 fill, again, we have the fill here, and then we have the matte. For N2 fill, what you're going to do is over here on the right side, or maybe on the left, you'll see something that says dot track matte, TRKMAT. If you don't see that, over here at the bottom, click toggle switches / modes, and it should change the view there. So you're going to click where it says none, and then you're going to click alpha matte matte. Basically what that does is it uses the layer above it to reveal itself, essentially. So now when we play it, this is what we see. So it's essentially the red, but only showing over the fill. Alright, so now what we can do is fix the timing. Just adjust it like that. And yeah, so we have that. So now what I will do is turn on the other layers here and sort of play what we have. Awesome. So obviously we need to fix the timing there because it goes a little too fast. Perfect. So something like this. That is a good start. And then for the lines here, I'm thinking I'm gonna expand them again like that. Or maybe not. Let's see. So something like that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah, this is what we have now. So we have N. Sweet beans. Now what we can do is select all these layers that make up the N. Right click and then click pre-compose. We'll call this N and then hit OK. So now we have our N on its own layer. Oh no, I moved it. No worries though, because if you do, we have this lock layer that we can then align it back to. But don't do that. That's just like a last resort type of thing. Awesome. And then we're gonna do the O. The O's are really easy to bring to life because it's literally just a circle, and they're pretty fun to, I don't know why, they're easy and fun. So for the O, we'll call this O line, and then we'll do O fill, just like that. And then what we are going to do here is the same thing. So for the O fill, that one goes on the top. We'll turn it off for now. The O line, we're going to turn off the fill on that one. We're going to click this little arrow here, click add, and we're going to add a stroke just like that. And then we are going to add trim paths just like that. Let's go into this old, or the first animation we did, and grab one of the lines here for the N. Go ahead and Control C, copy the trim paths animation for that, and then we'll add it to this one, to the O. So now you'll see the O animate in like that, and I gotta say that's really cool. So again, though, it's a bit too small, and then what I'll do is just do go to group, and then we'll animate the stroke width. So ends a bit smaller, but starts pretty large like that. Keyframe assistant, easy ease, go into the graph editor. You know, it's pretty, it's just, you're just repeating the process. That's really all it is. But yeah, here's the O animation. I really like that. Wow, I may have to post this to my Instagram. But yeah, this is the O. And what if I actually did this? Sweet. So that's the O. Now we're going to animate the O fill. So we're going to do the same thing with the N. We'll go layer, new, shape layer. And then we'll make it red so we can see. This time we're going to do an ellipse. So a circle. And then hold shift and click so that you create a proportionate circle. And then scale it down just like that. And then the stroke we can play with until it sort of fits the circle. So 64, 65, looks like 66. Awesome. And then same thing with the ellipse. We should have still copied the trim paths that should still be on your keyboard. So if you click on the ellipse 1 right here and hit Control V, it should copy it directly to it, just like that. And now you'll see the red. Only thing is, you'll see that it sort of ends. So to do that, just turn off the start. Oops, wrong one. Don't do that. Let's see, and yeah, there you go. So just like that, the O comes onto the screen, and again, the red that we're seeing is the matte. Now that I verified that this is how I sort of wanted to animate in, we'll call this matte here. So O fill, we're gonna click O fill over here on the right side where it says track matte, click none, and then hit alpha matte matte. So the red should be on top of the O fill layer. And then let's go ahead and play it. Awesome. Sweet. That's actually really cool. As I was saying before, you can do a lot of things with this. For example, you can play with the offset. So maybe you want it to spin around a bit like that. We could do that. Just like this. That's really cool. I'm actually pretty impressed. Awesome. I like that. So I kind of want it to be faster though. Maybe the offset is faster. I feel like it's kind of weird. Let's see. That kind of works. You know, you can spend more time with it and all that. Same thing. We're going to animate the opacity. So let's go into the N here. Where does it flash? You can hit T on your keyboard to bring up the opacity. So this one's flashing there. So copy the opacity keyframes, and then we're going to paste it directly into the O fill. O fill. So here's what it looks like. So here's what we have. Pretty fun stuff. So I'm going to continue here, fast forward, and then I'm going to show you some cool things you can add to the text once you sort of have it finished. I have finished the I here. That one was pretty simple. Here's the R, and then here's the final version of the R. Make sure it's locked and turned off. So I have R line. We're going to go ahead and do no fill. And again, remember, this is just the outline of the R. And then we're going to add a stroke, right? And then what I'll actually do is even animate the stroke already. So it's going to start pretty large and get pretty small. I think it's a 2. So what I have it to, select all those keyframes, easy ease them, open up the graph editor, you know, do what I've been doing for the past 25 minutes or so. So that's what that's gonna look like. And then we're gonna copy and paste the same trim paths animation, keep everything the same. That wasn't it. We'll go to N. So N1. So copy trim paths, and this is going to be the line for it. So Command V or Control V, and now you'll see the animation appear. I don't think they're aligned though. By the way, if you hit U, you can pull up all the keyframes for a particular piece of artwork. Okay, that's cool. So that's really cool. I like this. So yeah, this is the line. The line is already animated. So I'm gonna do this one tad differently. So we have the line. Now what I'm gonna do is for R1, separate out R1 from R2, D2. Let's look at R1. Okay, perfect. So R1, this is R1, this is R2. Let me do each one at a time. So again, here's the line. It's going like that. For this, what we can do is move the anchor point. So click Y on your keyboard, move it down to the very bottom of the shape layer. I'm going to solo it. Okay, so move the anchor point down. So click Y on your keyboard. You'll see this little pan behind tool. I think it's what it's called. And then you'll move it down here. If you hold control, it'll allow you to snap to this this point here. And then what we're going to do is hit S on our keyboard for the scale property. And then we're going to click this unlink, or this link right here. That way we unlink the properties. And we're going to start a keyframe with the Y position here at a 100. And then we're going to go backwards a few frames and start it at 0. So now what you'll see is the shape layer animate in a vertical fashion. And then same thing, easy ease, graph editor, you know, start off fast, something like that, I believe is what, yeah, that's fine. And then we'll make it a tad bit faster. Okay, perfect. And then I'll unsolo that. Now I have to time these up. So that's gonna come, sort of wanted to, yeah, so that goes perfect. Same thing here. We can add the whole opacity thing. I'll just do this like so. So let me go back to something I've already made. Click that, click T for opacity. There we go. Copy those keyframes. And right when it starts to appear here, hit Control V to paste them in like that. I think it may be too sweet. So we have that, and then now we're going to animate the R here. The way I plan on doing this is the same exact way I did the O, with the using the matte technique. So we're going to do layer, new shape layer. It should already contain or like have the same settings you had for it before. If not, it's okay. So we're going to rename this to matte, and then we're going to click the pen tool. Make sure the matte is on top of the piece of work we want to bring to life. I'll actually solo everything. So this is the matte. We can't see anything yet. Now we're actually going to draw on the mat. So we're going to go ahead and do this here. So what you'll notice is the edges can be a little rough. What you can do is click and hold on the pen tool, and then do convert vertex tool, and that will round them out so they aren't so harsh. And yeah, you can sort of angle the path this way, the stroke. And then so we have, that's the first part that's going to go in, and then we have the second part. So it ends like right there. So now let's animate these two. I believe, let's see, we'll just do it from scratch. I think I already had some, but whatever. So we're gonna click the matte, click contents for shape layer, or for shape 1. That's the one that goes like that. We're gonna click add right here at the top right, click trim paths, and then we're gonna set some keyframes. So the end position ends at 100, leave it there. Go backwards a few frames, and then move it to 0, just like that. And then we can, ease it, play with the motion in the graph editor. Let's see what that looks like. It should be like sort of fast and slow, snappy. Yeah. So that's pretty smooth. So we'll copy this trim paths, the keyframes for it, and then literally just paste it right onto the second part when the time is right. So it should look like this. Yeah, perfect. And then unsolo all that. And then what we're going to do is hit toggle switches modes. If you don't see the track matte thing on the right side, we're looking for track matte right here. So if you don't see it, you'll click this toggle switches. For R2, click none, and then alpha matte, the matte that's on top of it. So now let's see what we have. Cool. So that the R actually may be going in too fast or too soon. So let's see. So that goes. Perfect, and that works. Now we're gonna pre-compose the R. Hit OK. And we're gonna collapse these. Perfect. So now this is what we have. A nice, cool, pretty sleek looking animation. So since I've pre-composed everything, something cool that you can do is animate the position of these letters maybe sort of coming in. So if you select each pre-composed letter, and then hit P on your keyboard for position, go forward a few frames, like sort of when you want the animation to finish. So for me, like 3 seconds. Set a keyframe right there, and then go back a few frames. And then what we're going to do is spread out each letter one by one. Something like this. I don't know what it's going to look like yet. Something like that. So that way over time they come together like that. Same thing. Let's fix the motion. So let's see what happens. Whoa, that was cool. It's too slow though, so let's see. Wow, that's awesome. So NOR Noir. But yeah, this is just some just small things you can do. And what I usually do, I guess some other cool things you can do to add more to it, or add more to the animation, is pre-compose the entire animation as a whole. We'll call this final animation. Move all attributes into the new composition. That's perfect. And then what you can do, so as soon as this comes in, it's going to get smaller like this. We'll ease that, fix the motion. I think I want it to start fast and then sort of smooth itself out. So yeah, something like that. I make sound effects when I work. or in motion. I don't like that. This is gonna be really snappy. We'll keep it like that. And what we can do is duplicate this, Control D, and we can add like some shine or like glow to it. And there's a lot of ways to do it actually, but this is my go-to way. We're gonna go to Effects and Presets, type in glow, double click, and you'll see that there's some glow now added to the work. Usually the default settings are good. If you duplicate it, it can look better. But yeah, I usually just add this like type of glow here. And then what I do is, there's actually a lot of different things you can do. You can add a mask. So something like this using the pen tool, and then actually animate the mask path going across the text like this. So basically what you've done here is, since you duplicated the text there and created a mask with glow, it's only going to show that. And then if you turn this on, oh, it's just on top of it basically. So small things like that, you can add feather to it so it's, you know, more. So much you can do with this. Even ease this. So here's what we have here. So that looks fine. And we'll duplicate that mask so we get one last sort of shine to say goodbye. Yeah, that works. So I was redoing the animation, just trying to see what I could add to it, make it look more, I don't know, grungy and kind of cool. And here's what I was able to do. As you can see, there's like these little texture effects here in the background. The way I did that is pretty simple actually, and it utilizes the whole matte thing that I was teaching you in the video here, in the tutorial or process video. So basically I'm just using a halftone texture, so drag it out. This is what the texture looks like. Right, so animation layer goes at the bottom, and then the texture goes on the top, and then you hit alpha matte. So this is basically the matte here. And basically, yeah, the trick is offsetting it. That way there's sort of like a ghosting effect, and then this is what you get. It's really cool because you just move it around, and yeah, that's how you create, you know, cool abstract text animations like this in Adobe After Effects. Hopefully that sort of gives you an idea. I know I sort of, you know, did the tutorial as if you sort of know After Effects a bit. Hopefully you do, and it wasn't too confusing. But yeah, this is how you do it, or this is how I do it. So if you have any questions, comment below. You know, I'm always willing to help out when I can. And yeah, follow me on Instagram, Motion Tony. Check out my work. I'll be posting more tutorials and process videos like these in the year 2020, so I'm excited for that, and this is like the start of it all. But yeah, thanks so much. I will see you in my next video. Peace out.